Thank you. Thank you. Guten Nachmittag. Mijn naam is Miquel Rodriguez. Das war's mit Deutsch. Okay. Oh, there's another one. Ein Bier, bitte. No. Yeah, gross Bier, bitte. Okay. So, while we keep sitting and getting comfortable, I would like you to please, using your mobile phones, scan this QR code. You can scan it. If the scan doesn't work, just menti.com and those numbers in there. I think you already know how does that work, don't you? It's a brand new tool called Menti, never heard before.
Yes.
Okay, it works. Perfect. Okay, so as Fran said, my name is Miquel Rodriguez. I'm consulting director at NetMind. There's a consultancy from Spain. And we recently have been acquired by a bigger company called BTS, non-related with the Korean band. And as I usually say, I wrote this book, La Empresa Ágil, about 4 years ago with some colleagues. And as I usually say, if you want to learn about Agile and Spanish, that's your perfect combo, okay? Okay, this is me. Let's see who are you. So I'm going to show the code again. Just last moment, 77 people, okay. Okay, so let's see. What's your energy level? Go, 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 come on. What the hell is going on? Oh, that's nice. Good. Okay, so let's go, as you said. First of all, what kind of team do you work on? You can pick more than one option. And if there are some others, I will ask you. Or not, I mean. Okay, software development and IT. Cool, so we have about more than 2/3 of the attendees that are IT related, software development related. Okay, so I hope you get value from this talk. The main purpose is also the other people, okay? So let's see people from legal, from HR, from operations. Software development people and IT people have been doing really good stuff. Let's see how we can learn from you to apply that in other teams. That's why this talk is called Business Agility Practices that work in almost any kind of team. Okay, so no matter if it's IT, if it's legal, if it's, I think they can work. Okay, your experience about Agile, that's the last question. Oh, we have 3 co-authors of the manifesto here. 4 and rising. Cool. May have some questions for them later. Okay, we'll go back to this, but it's good to know who's in this room. Let's start from the beginning, because we're talking about business agility. It started with Agile, how it did start. Let me explain you, let me try to illustrate that with a metaphor. Who does recognize any of those pictures? Just shout out, what do you see there? Pyramid, okay. Burj Khalifa, yes. ENIAC, Yes, that was probably one of the authors of the manifesto who said that. Okay, the ENIAC. And that one? Okay, this is the Mare Nostrum in Barcelona. This is one of the largest supercomputers in the world. It's within a cathedral. Really nice to see that. Do you see the arcs over there? Okay. So, why do I want to? Do you see any relationship between those pictures?
Creations is the human mind.
Okay, good. In which areas?
Architecture.
Okay, good. Construction, architecture, and let's say information systems. Okay? So if we take one of the first big buildings that humanity did, the pyramid, and the largest, the tallest building on Earth right now, it's about 4,000 years between them. If we take the first largest supercomputer, the ENIAC, and one of the largest supercomputers nowadays, it's roughly 70 years, 80 years. So our field of work is really recent. It's just a baby as a field. So when computer programming started, they worked on projects and they were struggling to deliver on time, to deliver without mistakes, to deliver on cost. And on the 60s, there was this software engineering conference, 1968. Those people here are the ones who wrote the first computers books. And the term, is there any software engineer here? I'm a software engineer or systems engineer. Anyone else here? Good. Okay. So that specific name was born in here, was coined here. This is where software engineering was born. And they said, okay, how can we improve our projects? Let's copy from other industries that have been doing projects for so many years ago. Guess what? Construction and engineering. And what are the best practices for construction and engineering as a process? Plan ahead. Plan ahead, yes. So let's plan, let's make sure what do you want, let's write it down. Is this? Yes, it is. Okay, please sign it with your blood or something. Then we will build it, then we will test it, and then we deliver. Good practices for software engineering. Let's go. Okay, it improved, but not as much as we expected. So that was a really inflection point. This is where waterfall methodologies were created, copying from others. And a few years later, does anyone recognize this? 4 people should recognize this. Now 5, okay. Okay. So yes, that's it. So this is where the Agile Manifesto was born, about with those 17 people. Okay. After 2 days, they came out with this. And a few months later, they fine-tuned that. Pretty sure you're familiar with that. Okay, so Weber, that was 22 years ago. That's about 1/3 of the age of software engineering, of IT industry. So I love that. We wrote the Agile Manifesto in a weekend. Have you heard about it? Okay, it's a joke, but also hashtag respect for those people. Okay, a lot of respect. However, the Agile movement has evolved in something that some people call the waves of Agile. Nowadays, we are in the 3rd wave of Agile. So, first wave started 2001 with the creation of the Agile Manifesto. And that was intended to solve what? Software development for teams. That's why it's called the Agile Software Development Manifesto. And it was really a disruption on the way of doing things. So we moved from teams, like project teams with a lot of people, to product teams with around 10 people. So I'm pretty sure you can distinguish and you're familiar with that. Because the right column is the way we are doing things nowadays. So the discussion regarding how do agile teams should work, it's over. This is what this slide is saying. So convergent opinion, divergent opinion. At the beginning, they said, OK, let's do things absolutely differently. And people, what? What are you doing? This is not what... Then a lot of discussion, and then because of institutions like PMI, Project Management Institute, said, oh, there's a certification. And if they say there's a certification, there's an agreement, kind of, OK? They're laggards in industry. So there's no discussion about how agile teams should work. However, second wave of agile is, OK, it's good for a team, but what happens when we have a lot of teams? How should we work? And then books like The Enterprise and Scrum, Scaling Lean and Agile Development, first version of SAFe. So this was, I didn't say it softly, first version of SAFe. So they started to suggest ways of working with a lot of teams in agile environments. How was that? OK, I'm sure you're familiar with those frameworks. All of them have in common, it's, OK, what works at the team level? Let's do it at a bigger level. Team of teams, fractal approach. Still a lot of focus on IT. And then, and let me highlight something, is that we are not done with that discussion. So there's a lot of struggling on what's the appropriate approach. And then, after that, they say, OK, first wave, agile team, second one, agile at scale, but what if we apply this to the whole organization? Books like Lean Startup, Management 3.0, Principles of Product Development Flow. What they did is, OK, what's working here? Why don't we apply that not only IT, but to the whole organization? I've copied here two definitions of what is business agility, but it's about responding to market changes, responding to new opportunities, continuous change, and now we start having agile HR, agile finance, agile marketing. So when we talk about agile, it's not anymore only for software development. And that movement, nowadays it's called business agility or adaptive organizations, versatile organizations. And how's this movement going? OK, I think almost everyone in development and IT, they're doing agile. Other industries are probably crossing the chasm, OK, starting to gain traction. And if we ask people, OK, what are you doing? Are you adopting agile? We have this. So agile practices outside of software development, OK, marketing a little bit, security, human resource. So those peoples are copying, are adapting what their IT colleagues are doing. And if we ask them, OK, what are you doing specifically? What kind of practices are you applying? And we get this. Oh, we do daily stand-ups. Yeah, we do retrospectives, sprint or iteration planning, iteration review. And when you realize the top 5 agile practices are included in the Scrum framework, but this is, for me, like the biggest warning. It's, OK, people outside of the agile movement, what you've heard, what you're trying to do, remember, agile is not Scrum. There's a lot of confusion on this when you go outside of the more knowledgeable people. So agile is a mindset, and Scrum is a framework. So what has been, in my opinion, the largest mistake on agile transformations? Oh, let's do Scrum. So biggest mistake in agile transformation has been rushing to create Scrum teams throughout the organization without a systemic approach. Has anyone faced this? Going to an area of the organization, oh, you should have a Scrum Master. A Scrum what? Master of what? The product owner have that role, and then focusing just in this. And then transformations failed. So then the question is, okay, what did we learn from those teams that were really delivering, that were really efficient and successful, applying Agile? What did we learn that can be successfully applied to any kind of team? So that was the intro, and now it's business agility practice that work on almost any team. Okay? And a small disclaimer here, those are not the 7 practices. Those are my preferred 7 practices, and you can pick yours, and those practices, in fact, have been changing, evolving over time. Okay? So let's go for it. First one, establish, normalize, visualize, and prioritize the flow of work. Work is work. I mean, no matter what you're doing. What are you doing? I'm doing user stories. What's that? I don't care. User story. Okay. What are you doing? Features. What are you doing? Marketing reports, marketing campaigns. I'm doing audits. I'm doing whatever element of work. This work should be established, normalized, visualize that work, and then prioritize it. And this can be applied to any team. It can be consciously managed by the team. You need to agree on your way of working, and then make it explicit. For example, this board here is from a company, a consultancy of lawyers. It's from a law firm. So the users of this board are not software developers, are not engineers, they are lawyers. And here, there's the flow of a claim. Un caso in Spanish, no idea in German. Remember? Only be here, please. So, and this is, are we representing as a lawyer the defendant, or are we representing the plaintiff? And if we get closer to this, what do they have is 2 different levels. One for the claims, the asuntos, the claims, organized by, let's say, business unit, by lawyer, by big lawyer, big fish lawyer, and then the working board with tasks. There's a really nice talk about this from this. By the way, you'll be able to download the slides later on, and feel free to email me, or if you want also a copy. There's a really nice talk explaining that case from that lawyer firm. So this is not developers, it's just lawyers. More things here. Budget control, Barcelona. This picture was taken more than 10 years ago. And there were budget control. It's just a simple board to manage the work. Or this is a bank audit team board. So any kind of team may use that first practice. Second practice, understand what your customers really want. As we know, it's difficult to develop good software. And it's because of its intangibility, it's difficult to make sure that this is what the customer wants. So software development teams have improved a lot, have been really good on finding out what the customers want, finding the value of that. Okay, just ask them, observe what they do, apply design thinking techniques. This can be done by any kind of team. Here's an example of a workshop that we did in Lisbon about 5 years ago. It was for a drink company, for an alcohol company. And that person here is the owner of one of the more popular bars in Lisbon. So what they did is they brought the customer and explain, they had in first-hand opinion of the customer. Let's be closer to our customers. Let's listen to them. Let's observe how they work. And we created there customer journeys, user personas. Another one, automate work. Software developers, I'm included in that, we are lazy. So if a machine can do something, let's have the machine do that. So we've been really good on automating things, automating deployments, automating documentation, automating whatever. So let's do that. We have a lot of tools that can help us automate a business process, a simple office process. There's a lot of tools that we can use for that. Another one, peer reviews, pairing, mobbing. So let's start with peer reviews. So peer review is I do something, is someone with similar skills, role, position, reviews that. And this is great. Because as a reviewers, when someone asks us to review something, we broaden our perspective, we increase our knowledge, the quality of the work, and then we give feedback so the authors learn from our suggestions. Just before going to vacation, I created a product, a new learning journey, and during vacation, I set that slide in there for BTS reviewers during August, some instructions, and when I came back from vacation, I had all that great feedback from my peers. How can we establish that? Would that improve the quality of what you do? For sure. So this is peer reviewers. Also, we have pairing. When extreme programming introduced pair programming, it was like 2 people, 1 computer. What? We're going to decrease our productivity. But it's the other way around. When you work in pairs, what you get is more quality, you get collaborative learning, you build on the ideas of others, so more innovation, more creativity, emergent and creative solution, conversation, friendship, share responsibility, and the only invest is time. So let's help other teams to establish this pair working. And I love that comic here, because those 2 programmers are doing things really with workarounds and doing bad things. Oh, let's just keep this. But when they pair together, it's like, oh, should we start with a unit test? Oh, yes, indeed. So doing like a lot of quality, because we're doing that together. It's not possible for that person to see how crappy my code is when I'm developing on my own, okay? So it increases quality because of this social interaction. And also you can organize that in what we call this mob programming. That is some people working or leading the work, some others observing. And this has been really popular with some influencers doing whatever thing on packaging or something. Kids love it. We're going to do something similar at work. And now, with all this video conference and everything, it's even easier. So let's organize these kind of things. What do we want to avoid is not my job situations. Okay, because those are teamwork practices. And then there's a shared responsibility of the whole team, just by applying those simple practices, those simple techniques. Okay, another one, align objectives and measure them. Are we sure that we are walking in the right direction? So if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter. No? I love that quote from Alice in Wonderland. So set a goal, pursue it, and then review it. All kind of teams can do that. Something that has been working really good is OKRs. I think there's a session about OKRs today. So what are the OKRs? I won't go in a lot of detail, but it's, okay, let's set an objective, an inspiring objective. Where are we going? This is qualitative. And then, which key results will lead us to that? And those ones are the quantitative. And then we set the tasks. So here's an example of OKRs we did for an agile transformation. It was, okay, objective, promote an agile mindset in the organization. How do we measure that? Oh, I don't know, but it's aspirational, it's good, let's try it. And then we said, okay, those 4 key results, we think that if we train 75% of the organization professionals in Agile, we think that if we get 50% of professionals to enroll in a learning community, we think that if we get 250 professionals to attend those community events, and if we organize 100 internal talks, that goes for a big bank, we think that we will be promoting the Agile mindset. Those ones are easier to measure, and then we were looking for these objectives. So this is a good way for a team to set objectives. Here's an example of how to introduce OKRs, using OKRs. So objective, we want to measure what's important by using OKRs in our company. How do we do that? Okay, we could start by having people trained on OKRs during the first semester, the availability of those OKRs in those groups, and quarterly review. And then we have the task. Okay, measure it, go. So using objectives, using OKRs. And now you may think, okay, you've been saying a lot of things, but you need to try things. Having this mindset. So another good practice that works on almost any team is try new things. And sometimes people say, oh, let's celebrate failure. There's been kind of a motto in some startups and companies, I hate failure. I don't want to celebrate failure. Because if I failure and if I don't learn from that failure, that, in Spanish we say es una mierda. I hope you understood that word. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to ask how is this in German, okay? So, but what's good, it's learning. So we need to find a way to celebrate learning. How? Experimenting. And there's something from Management 3.0 that is called the celebration grid. So basically how this works is that which behavior are you having and what are the results? So if you do apply the practices and you do things as they are supposed to be, probably it's going to be successful. And if you commit mistakes, probably you're going to fail. So you don't learn from applying successfully a practice. Hey, I've done what the process says that I should do, and it went well. Yes. What did you learn? That it works. I've skipped the process, I've committed a mistake, and it failed. Oh, what did you expect? But sometimes you get different results, but it's just a few times. So the learning, it's just a few here. However, if you try an experiment, I'm going to try this new metric. There was this session just before lunch about the metrics for Scrum Masters. 15 metrics. Did anyone attend this session? 15 metrics. Okay, you may say, I'm going to try this metric. I don't know. It's not a good, it's not going to work for sure. It's not going to be bad for sure. It's, let's try it. Let's do an experiment. I think that if I apply this return of investment metric in my teams, I think I'm going to improve this. But I don't know. I'm going to try it. So whether it works or not, you learn. That's the basis of experimentation, trying things in a safe environment. There's a nice tool to apply that it's called the test card and learning card from Strategizer. And it's just, I'm going to write down an experiment here, and I'm going to review the results there. So, for example, I'm going to introduce OKRs. Okay, the test is I'm going to use OKRs with my team during the third quarter. We believe that using metrics to be aligned will help us achieve better results and be more focused on the most important issues. To verify that, we will start using OKRs, defining together. We will measure this, and we will be right if we achieve between 50 and 95 of the objective, blah, blah, blah. This is an experiment that you define. And after the period has passed, after that 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 quarter, whatever, okay, we believe that using metrics, we observe that we achieve this, so from that we learn that setting objectives align with our strategy, therefore I will continue using this. If it didn't work, therefore I will skip it and go for another thing. But it's not a failure. It's a learning of trying new things. And combined with that one, the last one, establish learning cycles and continuous improvement. Again, no matter the nature of your team, you can establish those cycles, those learning cycles. Daily meeting or retrospective is just reflect on what we've done and then take action. So if you set experiments, you could have, for example, this here I'm combining several things. I'm combining the visualization. This is just a quite simple Kanban board. New ideas. Okay, let's analyze that. Okay, let's go for that one. We are implementing. And look at this column here. It's not straight to done. It's learning. So once we've finished something, let's have a specific column that says, what were the results? What are the benefits? What did we learn from that? And in order to move to the next step, you need to formalize that learning. You need to share that learning. This is an example of our innovation initiatives in our company. Everyone can suggest an innovation initiative, and then if it's small, it gets automatically accepted with no interaction. If it's bigger, there's just a quick review to make sure that they are not overlapping. So far, of, I think, 60 initiatives, we only said once, let's stop this because it's overlapping with that. And then, before going to done, there's this learning column here. Okay, so that step is key on this kind of processes. So, in summary, I've been focusing a lot on learning. Why? Because I think that there's a really big relationship between learning and business agility. So we need to learn fast. How long does it take for us to learn? There's also time to react. So we need to act fast. On one of the sessions this morning, they were talking about learning, designing, and making decisions. So it's about this. Eduardo, it was you. So business agility requires that the whole organization learns fast and acts fast. So those are the 7 practices. I'm going to go back to the slide for a moment. Do you still have your mobile phones with the QR code? Because it's the same than before. Okay. If not, I can show it here. But I would like you, from those 7 practices, which ones you can ask, are you already doing them, or you think you can apply them? So what are the ones that you think are most benefit for you? Okay, sorry for a moment. I'm going to put that in here. Better now? Okay. Let's see what are your preferred ones. Pretty similar, all of them. Try new things, good. The visualization, learning cycles. Okay, top one, it's establish, normalize, visualize, and prioritize the flow of work. Great. Okay, I'm going to go back to here. Those are the seven. I've seen some of you taking pictures. That's a good moment for this. Those are the seven practices. I have two final takeaways for a moment. Final takeaways. First one, remember the mistake from construction engineering and then Scrum to all the teams. So make sure that you don't cut and paste practices from other teams, from other companies, without first understanding them and then agreeing on what are they intended to achieve. What is this practice for? If we want to establish the metric of ROTI, what's the purpose of that? Does it fit with what we need? Okay, let's go for it. But don't just blindly copy and paste. Second, organizational learning is the basis of business agility. Sharing our learnings, having communities of practice. And third one, we have seen 7 practices that may work, but you must find yours. Okay, it's just don't copy and paste those 7. You must find yours. And then the final disclaimer. We've been focusing on teams. However, I mean, we can improve teams. However, improving teams doesn't mean that we are improving our organizational agility as a whole. We need to take a systemic approach. Eduardo talked that in the morning. Also, we had some other sessions focusing on this. Your session was talking about that. Alexander was Robert. Okay, sorry. So it's about we need to work also on practices at higher levels on the organization, not just only the teams. Okay, and that's it from my side. On the QR code that I've given you, there's a section to add questions if you want, and you can vote other people's questions. So if someone is shy and just doesn't feel like open mic speaking, you can use that platform to ask for your questions or vote questions from other people. Okay? And obviously, if someone wants to ask any question, let me check if there's something here. You never know what you will get. Okay, one question. Not a question, but a really good presentation. Okay, thank you. Okay, so next one. Can you show us your contact slide again? Okay. Easy questions. I mean, that's fine. Okay, that's my contact slide. Dankeschön. And feel free to scan that code to contact me or that email in there. Let's go back. Let's see if there's any. At which management level does Agile lose its appeal? How many time do we have? 3
minutes.
3 minutes. Okay, just in my experience, we are not using the word Agile when talking to C-level. Why? Because usually they had bad experiences in applying Agile poorly. Oh, let's do Agile, Scrum. Oh, no, it's not this, not only this. So we tend to use the word adaptive, versatile, okay, business agility. It's this Agile, okay, it's agility. It's slightly different, okay? I hope I'm answering the question. What else? Okay, maybe there's something on the number 1, not a question, no. The slides, yes. May I have a beer, please? Let's make it 2. Okay, I've done this one. Examples for companies that have already applied business agility. In my opinion, that company, lawyers company, Cuatro Casas, that's the second largest lawyers company in Spain, so it's about probably almost 2,000 lawyers, I mean, a lot of people, and they're doing Agile practices at all the levels. They'll call it either Lean or just Flow. Okay, so I think that's a really, really good example, and there are some talks in Spanish. You can improve your Spanish, or subtitles. What do you think about holacracy? Okay, I think I don't have this time. Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, I can be here having a beer, so feel free to contact me for more extended questions. I think we're done on time. So thank you very much. Dankeschön.
Thank you so much.
That's right.
A great round of applause, please.
Thank you.